Cool. Right, boom, we're in. Welcome back, people. Episode 5 of the People of Interest podcast today. Before I let my guest introduce himself, because I feel like I need you to do it, and the reason why? And the reason why is because the way that I like to do the pod and what it's set up to do is just to give everyone an understanding and insight into the individual, rather than us making assumptions and conclusions based on the content, maybe the life they've lived, things that they've been reported about in the media, stuff like that.
Cool.
So before I do let you do that, I just want to say a very, very big thank you for today, because you didn't have to come in and do this, because you don't know me from Adam. So I appreciate you for coming to sit down.
When you messaged me, what did I say to you?
Yeah, just helping people and developing their scope at the moment.
Yeah,
but again, you don't have to be doing that. So I just want to.
No, it's a minor, because the way I see it is like I said to you, I know a lot of people with huge platforms. I don't even name their names, because at the moment when someone then messaged me, my response is always like short and very direct. You know what I mean? But I know loads of people with huge platforms, and if you message them and said, bro, could you come on my channel this week? I've got this coming up and I've got that coming up, and yeah, could you message my manager and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I've known you since we were like 13, 14, 15. When you were coming up, I was constantly pushing your content to try and get you to where you were. Because you see, the things, I've always had like a strong following, even before socials existed. But I never wanted to be in front of the camera at first. I just used to kind of shy behind and duck behind it. So it's like now, when everything's grown, I'm thinking, all right, because I've known you for over 20 years, you could reciprocate. But a lot of people, once they get to a certain following, they feel like they're above everyone else. But my thing is, like, I've consciously kind of said to myself, let me help everyone starting. You know what I mean? I'm not even worried about these people no more. I don't even, the truth now is I don't even want them on my thing. Like, it sounds bad, even though I know they will amplify my reach. I don't even want them on my thing, because I'm like, you know what, let me grow with people who I can see genuinely trying to grow. And hopefully if I put that mind state out there, when they've grown, the next person coming up, they can pull up.
No, 100%.
Instead of getting up and just kicking the ladder down.
100%.
Because that's what it looks like a lot of people are trying to do. They get there and they don't want no one to be up there on the hill with them. They all want to just be the king of the hill.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you, bro. Thank you for that. So for the people who haven't recognised the voice or don't know the voice, and is not watching this on the YouTube or the clips or anything like that, who are you? What do you do?
My name's Chizzo. On socials, Chizzo Lifts. I'm a PT first. I hold a whole bunch of events like Summer Love, Lock Sundays, and a couple others. I YouTube as well now. I've been doing that for the past year. It's doing all right still. And yeah, just trying to grow as a person in general.
Yeah. No, for real. I think, Chizzo, the reason as I say that I wanted you on today is because, and we've already touched on this before, we've properly clapped in and got got it all started, is your content and the conversations you're having on your YouTube right now, I feel like the ability for people within the culture to start having those conversations is finally starting to break through, if that makes sense. Yeah. Now, I wanted to kind of break down that theory or my conclusions of it with someone such as yourself, because again, like, you know, I don't live within London. Obviously, I'm not like out and around and like that all the time. But I just think from what I've seen and stepped away from and see from a wider picture, because of the fact that, you know, the culture of what it is, and, you know, I enjoy what comes out of it, you know, the music, films, like, again, other content like the podcast and stuff like that. So for me, your discussion that you had on YouTube the other day, and one of the comments that you made was, if the content's all relationship talk, just on crud all the time, views just flies. Conversations like we're going to have today, as you say, will probably, this one, I hope anyway, will do quite well because of the topics we'll go to. But I know for a fact that if I had this conversation again with someone else, you know, within the culture somewhere, it's probably going to be like, be asked, we've already had this one, get me on to the next one. But I think the reason why that is, and the conclusion that I've come to as to why maybe at the moment a lot of people, you know, within the scene and the culture maybe don't want to listen to those kind of conversations, because previously when other man and girls have done it, maybe it's not been properly directed and discussed because of, and the reason why I think it might be, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but in terms like a generational thing that, you know, you've got if like your parents or anyone else from like West Indian and African backgrounds, their parents are probably like first generation, so they came over here.
Yeah.
So that culture is still very much stuck versus being impacted by Western culture. And I've come to the conclusion that now that you like so yourselves, you know, Marv, Chucky, Dan, all that lot, and you know the conversation you're having, because now everyone's grown up and you've had the experience of having both African, Caribbean background, as well as Western culture.
Yeah.
We can now have these conversations, and then our age group and younger will listen to it, and they'll take off a bit more. But I don't know if that's right, and that's why I wanted to have a chat with you today. What you think?
You know, it's funny. Like even so at the moment, I grew up in Brixton, but anytime I go back to my old area, like last night I was out, and literally every 5 minutes, someone in the club was like, "I listen to your YouTube, blah blah blah. Keep going, keep pushing it. Like these conversations, we like to hear it." The funniest part was when I went to the bathroom. So I mean, the urinal, and the guy's on the other side, and he's like, "Oh, I know this is the wrong time to big you up," but I was like, in my head, I was thinking, "Right, I've literally got my third leg in my hand, and I'm getting bigged up about YouTube," and I was just like, "It's wrong timing," but I was like, "Yeah, thank you." And it's a thing that even though we both washed our hands, I'm like, I can't even shake your hand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're in the wrong.
Just the nod,
we're in the wrong setting. But I was like, yeah, thank you. But it's growing fast. It's like even now that I've been doing it over the past year, I've noticed certain things change. Where in the early episodes, I might accidentally swear, but due to like in the area I live, I might be in a Tesco now, and school kids just literally run up and be like, "Oh yeah, can I go have a picture? Blah blah blah. Follow YouTube." I'm like, whoa, I can't even be swearing because I don't even want you lot to be hearing that on the content. You know what I mean? And noticing that came from do you lot know a guy called Asheville, Daniel Lucy?
No, I've not heard.
Okay, so he's got a company called Asheville Aggregate, and he's got a YouTube channel. So he's like a guy who's in construction, black guy.
Yes, I do. My barber puts it. My barber puts the content on the shot. Yes, well. So I know exactly what you mean.
Like last year, said it to me. He goes, "Bro, literally stop swearing," because he goes, "You'd be surprised who tunes into your content." He was like, "The younger generation are going to tune in. Parents are going to tune in." Then even I was in Tesco as well once, and a teacher said, "I want to play more of your content in school to the kids in class so that they can listen. But I have to literally feel like I have to watch every episode first before playing that out." So after hearing that, I was just like, consciously, I was like, I can't really be doing this chit chat about relationships, and that's not my lane. Because now that I see that the kids actually listen to the content that we're putting out there, and their parents listen to it, and even the parents would see me and would literally acknowledge and be like, "Yeah, my kid proper talking about you and Gabriel and this and that." I'm like, whoa, like I didn't expect it to get that big, because when I first started it, in my head I was just like, it might take me like a year to get to like 1K subs, but the numbers just grow.
What do you think? What do you think's changed? And I say for us, because again, like as I said to you before, we properly clapped in and started talking, like the content that the boys on Free Shots talk about, and what, you know, Chucky goes through with Dan and Poet as well. Like they're brilliant what they do. Like no disrespect to them at all. They're fantastic. They are entertaining. That you know, they are the reason, as I said to you as well, that I'm pursuing this myself. But for me, is that the reason why I delayed for so long starting this is because I see what they do, obviously, and it's really successful. But if I was going to do that, it would just be meaty. Like I wouldn't be any good at it because I'm not someone that's always like gone out, you know, smashed a load of drinks and stuff, had a good time. I've never been that kind of person.
You see, the thing is, I come from that scene.
Yeah.
Like obviously I do the events, etc. But I don't know. It's just like for years I would get people like, for instance, like Simeon Panda. He would be like, "Oh yeah, you should get on YouTube," but I didn't want to just go in and just be just pure fitness, because in my head I was just like, if I'm just putting videos of me just training and slamming audio over it, it doesn't show my personality, it doesn't show my thought process. It just shows, there's another meathead. You know what I mean? And people have this misconception about guys who just go gym, all they do is they go gym and they don't do nothing else. Like they always have this thing that I always used to see it on social, and I used to laugh. All the guys who just go gym are all broke, and I just be in my head like just kiki. And I remember sometimes I screenshot and I'll send it to a few guys I know who are like hardcore gym heads, and they will all just be laughing and be like, if only people knew that this is just like a fraction out of everyone's daily routine. Like this is just what keeps you ticking, that this is what actually makes it easier to get up in the morning. So like originally I'm not a morning person, but every day without a fail I'm up early. Like even today I said to you, I went out, got in at 5. By 9 o'clock I was like I got stuff to do. Boom, jumped in my car, ran to the hill, did my hill runs. After that, went home quickly, freshened up, jumped back in the car, came here. So I'm a person that a lot of people would always make excuses of why they can't do something and try to throw their insecurities on you. Hence the gym guys are blah, blah, blah. I'm thinking to myself, there's like 24 hours in a day. No one's gym session's taking more than 2. So out of that, you've got 22 hours left. Let's say you sleep like 8 hours. Now you've taken 2 for gym, 8 hours for sleep. That's 10. You've got 14 left. Out of 14, you might work another 10. Then you've got like 4 to do whatever you want to do. So when people say to me, yeah, I haven't got no time, I'm just always in my head, I'm just always calculating time. You know what I mean? I'm always calculating the minutes and thinking, you would make time when it's for something you want. I'll tell you the funniest story ever. So about 2 years ago, just before the pandemic, so about 2019, a girl's messaged me and said she wanted me to train her. At the time, I was based in Yorkies in Tooting and Kings in Croydon. She was like, she lives in Streatham. Streatham's not far from Tooting. I was like, all right, cool. You could either train in Tooting or Croydon, whichever one you want. She was like, they're both too far. I was like, okay. A year later, I posted a pic when I was out. The girl slid into my DM with heart eyes. Then I've written thank you. Then she said something and she tried to shoot a shot. And I was like, my reply was like, yo, remember, I live in Croydon.
Yeah.
It's too far.
It's too far for you. Yeah.
She goes, you got me. I said, yeah, scroll up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm like, people always prioritize what they want. You know what I mean? Like, unfortunately, like, if you said to the same person, yeah, come link me right now, I want to hit in a flash. They will prioritize dick over training.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've said, like, I try to say to, like, especially like my young cousins and that, I always say to them all the time, most people you come across would put you in certain brackets without you realizing. If they see you as important, they would always make time for you. If they don't, they would always make excuses of why they ain't got time for you. But me, I just try to just use every minute of the day.
This like awareness and like what you described there, and then also again like the content that you're pushing out in terms of just having actual conversations now, just generally about life. Do you know what I mean? And as well, as I say, like previously, I think, a few years back, again, cultural wise, I think status would be reviewed as either doing well, or if you're in like the music scene somehow, if you're spitting bars yourself, or if we're kicking ball,
or if you're an athlete.
And and like that's it. Now all of a sudden this platform has come about, and what the conversations you're now having, or on your page, that it's almost as if that it's been like a missing link. Do you know what I mean? Like, so again, as I said before, like we have great conversations. There's no denying that over just nights out, events, stuff like that. I think that's all like I think we are good at that, providing that entertainment factor. But now the content that you're pushing now and the conversations you're having have been like, it's been something that has been like, we need this, and this, and then when someone's done it, they've just been completely clowned. But all of a sudden now, again, looking at the numbers that you have, your comment section as well on underneath the videos is actually really positive. It's no like, here's another person trying to kind of be a gospel in the Bible on the roads and stuff like that. Actually, people are like, no, this is helpful. This has been helpful. So there's like a change in. Feels like there's a change in what people want to listen to, but then also accepting of someone finally having these conversations. have you kind of had a thought about like what's changed or what is changing to help that?
You know what it is? I think a lot of it is down to the people that have been on my channel, to be fair. Because why I think it flows better is a lot of them come from similar backgrounds as well. So most people on my channel who've been on my channel I've known for predominantly, I'll say like 80% of the guests I've known for years. Like whether it's from school days, whether it's from college, whether it's from basketball, like we've crossed paths tons of times. So it's good to see like people that you've come from the same area and everyone's aspiring to be better individuals and trying to make something out of themselves in their own separate lanes, whether, like you said, usually it's the athletes, the artists, but now you're getting people who are just entrepreneurs and they're coming out from nothing, where you'd have seen them like 5-10 years ago, things were just really bad for them, and all of a sudden, boom, they've just had that light bulb moment. And so showing that side of things, showing that it's not only, like you said, that you have to be an entertainer, athlete to make it. I think it's inspiring the younger generation some who might be like in school, like at 16, 17, 18, not knowing what to do. They might feel lost thinking, because I don't play football, or I'm not in the music scene, or I'm not trying to be an actor, that I'm not going to be anything in life. While there is people I know who, like I said, like even some people that are still to come on the channel who've amassed a different kind of wealth, and they're just so low key you would not even have a clue. But it's just everyone's starting to realize that you could find your own kind of lane. And the good thing about the channel is why I kind of started it as well was, I said, one, a few school teachers back in the day, like my form tutor, he's like, I've forgotten what his position now is, but he's like high in education field. But he always used to try and drum to me from like early 20s, you should be a mentor, blah, blah, blah. And I said to him, unfortunately, I ain't got the time and patience to sit around and go from school to school and that. And I said, unfortunately, like, even though I rate people who are in those fields, they don't make the kind of money long term that I want to make. And I feel like it will slow my own personal goals. And that side might sound selfish, but I'm like, I've got my own personal goals and targets, and I always put that first, even though I love to help the youth. So light bulb moment clicked. I was like, the easiest way to reach more people with less time is YouTube. You get what I'm saying? So I was just like, boom, anything that I need to do to get to them, and hopefully, even if it's one kid that was about to go a different direction, if he pays attention and he figures what to do. Like I've had like, even in the past year, where someone said to me, after watching YouTube, I had a little savings and I did this. I was like, rah. Like, I didn't expect anyone to just follow through, but like I said, it's a thing that consciously after a while, I realized if I get online and I just start pushing this kind of content, it might not hit straight away. The numbers might not be mad, like 100k views, blah, blah, blah. But the good thing I know about it is 10 years from now, someone could go back and watch it.
Yeah. And it will be one of those slow burners, right? Because, like, you know, we know we could easily have sat here today and talked the biggest load of smack, and we would have run away with it.
Viral moments.
Run away with it.
Like even I posted a clip on TikTok yesterday, and it was from the last episode where Monquay, he's a comedian. He was in an episode now, and he was like, how did you know, if I didn't tell you that I'm Sudanese, how do you know I'm Sudanese? And I accidentally said something. I was like, well, you took off your hat and I saw your head. And then I was like, oof. Then straight away, I've gone, where's? That's TikTok. That's a viral moment. He's clipped that. I haven't even put that on my main thing, but he's clipped that and put it on TikTok. And the comments, everyone's just laughing. Yeah. He's commenting underneath it and said something that's there laughing. And I was just like, you know which clips are the viral moment, because even sometimes when we're filming and there's a funny moment, I might do like a little thing, like a click, just so that, that, like a timestamp, so that he knows that's the spot to find in the moment. But yeah, I think what's making things do slightly better is the fine blend of the serious topics and the banter side, especially from Gabriel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%, yeah.
I let Gabriel
Just do his thing.
Yeah, do
Yeah.
his
I
thing.
noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But but again, he's
Yeah.
great. I think
because he even says to me sometimes, he's like, I could tell you hold back a tiny bit. I'm just like, I'm a naturally reserved individual. Like, even though I do this YouTube stuff, the events and everything, I'm more, the moment I step out of that, I could be home alone for hours and people are messaging. I'm just looking, thinking, I'll reply when I feel like.
Bro, I mean, it's that same.
Yeah.
Honestly, I could watch my phone ring, but like, nope, you're
Nope,
good.
nope.
You're all right. I'm not right now. Just need my time.
Yeah.
With let's just move on to the responsibility side of things, as we talking about as well at the start with all of this, because this was a conversation I had with Dwayne Chambers a few months back when I sat down with him. Obviously after what happened with his career and stuff with the athletics and stuff, and when I reflect on his journey and his story, I feel quite sorry for him and sports people in general, because all of a sudden the sport that they've loved, they've grown up on as a kid, that they want everything for, as soon as they get their international vest, they're being called up for like first team in Premier League and stuff, then all of a sudden everyone's like, oh well, now you've got to be responsible because people are looking up to you, and it's like, I hear it, but I also think that's a bit unfair in terms of taking on that responsibility. I know you've touched on it as well already with like, kids coming up to you, after school, or parents and things like that. So how are you doing with just knowing that when you're having these conversations that there's like all of a sudden this responsibility poured on you, which one you didn't ask for anyway. You're just pushing out and talking about conversations and things that you would do with friends, but is it fair? Do you know what I mean? Or is it not even a kind of, is it just a case for you now just being like, it is what it is and this is what it has to be because of how it's all set up?
Yeah, it is what it is moment, because like even before even starting it, like I remember like years ago, like my mum always used to say to me, oh, why you was in the shadows? And I was just like, I don't really like the attention. Like I always feel like with socials, especially once you start growing, people are just looking for that one moment to just pull you back down. Like it just always feels like, especially out here, it always feels like people are just waiting to humble you. So that's why I always never wanted to be in the front. I always wanted to just be like the guy in the back and just kind of controlling things. But I remember, especially like before she passed, she used to be like, if you look at your old photos when you were like 1, what kind of kid had 100 people at his birthdays? When I was 5, the same thing. She was like, you've always just had, without you trying, people gravitate towards you. So she was like, you've got no choice but to accept that that's your gift. So like, even, I give an example, if I put like a flyer up now and I said, could you please share? 25 people I don't know will share. You know what I mean? And I don't know, it's always been like, from young, people are just always naturally just wanted to help me for no reason, like for nothing. So I felt like after a while, if people are doing this for me, I owe everyone on the long term. So before, like with the kids and all that, I'd be like, what's that Michael Jordan thing when he said, fuck them kids? Yeah. Like, I would have had that mind state before, you know what I mean? Yeah. But as I grew older, I was just like, in the area where I grew up, we didn't have like the older lot who were like 2-3 years older than us. They weren't good role models. They just literally wanted to teach us everything bad. And I was like, the only way as a whole, the way our society's looked at will change is if people who've got like a strong following start pushing out positive content and being positive role models to these young youths, so that crime levels, maybe not this generation, maybe the next couple, just start to dip, because now as elders, we're not there encouraging kids to go country, go do this, go, you know what I mean? Whereas when I was like 17, 18, 19, 20, I knew everything about everything. You know what I mean? Like, I knew how to drive from 15. Because the elders would be like, right, let's all chip in money together. Everyone chipping their little £10 pocket money. We'll buy like a a little banger from Auto Trader for like £200. There'll be 5 men in a car circling the block. When we're going parties, we're all in our little dusty Corsas. When the gasket or something blows, we just drop it at the end of the road. So at the end of the road where I grew up, you just see like all these old bangers. Like there was like a little, someone had a little garage driveway that it used to get rented out to different people where we would block it up. And all the olders were thinking, wow, whose cars are these? Not realising it was all these 15, 16, 17-year-old kids that own these cars, you know what I mean? So that era, the elders would literally show you how to drive from young, show you everything about the drug game, all of that. And I'm thinking to myself, now I've got my younger cousins who are like 20 and that, they've never seen that lifestyle. And that's due to like consciously, like, as we grew up and we grew far out of that, we kind of just kept them in a bubble.
Yeah. And I think the interesting thing about that though, Chizzo, is that what has contributed to, you know, yourselves and your age group, just rather than continuing the cycle.
Yeah.
Well, because again, that's been something that I've kind of noticed, but I've not been able to maybe think about what's contributed to it on a subconscious like level, because it would have been easy for you, because as you said, that's all you lot knew. That's what you got grown up on. It, you know, probably quick, easy money. But now for some reason, what is it that stopped you lot from continuing the cycle for maybe like my age group and like below? Do you know what I mean?
I'll give you an example. One of my friends, I go to 2 gyms. And one of my friends now, he's a PT in one of the gyms, and I hadn't seen him since 2006. So I saw him a month ago was the first time I saw him since 2006. And between like, I think 04 to 09, it just felt like loads of people I grew up with were just going jail. And he was one of the ones he caught probably one of the longest jail stints. So he went from 2006 to 2017. He missed his whole of 20s. His whole of 20s, he was in jail. So literally right when he turned 20, from 05 actually, right when he turned 20 in 05 till 4 years ago, he was in jail. So I hadn't seen him when he came out, and I just bumped into him. I was like, rah. And you know when someone still looks the same, everything, and it was still the same love. But it was just shocking that we hadn't had no communication in that time. Because what happened originally, he was trying to escape from out here. And at that time, it was weird. Like, he went jail. My next mate that I'd bumped into recent as well, he went jail. And it felt like everyone around me was going one by one, dropping one by one. Then I remember about 11 years ago, I was dating my ex-girlfriend. She's from West London. Her mum's house is literally around the corner from here, funny enough, where they grew up. And she must have said to me back then, she goes, I know, like, at the time I was working, but she's like, I know that you're probably like halfway in, because I know your friends. I've seen your friends. She's like, if you ever go jail, I'm never visiting you.
Oh.
So she's like, you better make a conscious decision now and choose your path. So I was just like, you know what? Let me stay away from it. Because she goes, right, I'm going to talk to your mum properly and tell her that, you get me, like, this is this and that's that. And I was just like, whoa, I need to kind of just step away from it, because the reality is, if you stay in this lane, nothing comes good. I've seen like literally like nearly like 80% of my childhood friends at the time, just one by one, just one man jail, like different years.
And do you think that, I don't know how to describe it. It's just, again, like, you know, you've made that conscious effort to say no to things, and I reflect on that quite a lot from your perspective, but not with obviously that kind of road scene, just more education. Is that like I was so anti it, like I couldn't be bothered. It was just boring for me, and I was in education. And then, you know, I know I had a lot of people saying you need to stay, like, it'll be, you know, it's good for you, need it. And again, there was that conscious decision for me to be like, right, you know, I need to, like, I can't not do this kind of thing, because otherwise, you know, you don't know where you'd end up. But I've never but there was always that other option on the right side to say, nah, like, you lot shut up. I'm just going to go do what I know everyone else to be doing around me. Can you, outside of obviously your ex saying that, you still could have just been like, nah, shush, like, you know, I'm gonna, because this is what I know. But what is
you know what it is as well? I think the second half of my friends were the athletes. So I played basketball as a kid, rugby, and at the time, during that time, I was playing rugby and track, and I think that side of people, they kind of, you know what I mean? They kind of kept me shielded. They kind of kept me away from badness. And I remember, like, even recently, like, one of my friends, it was a funeral late last year, and London Lions had a game for her and all of that. And I just even remember, like, talking to one of my friends after, and I was like, if it wasn't for her and our first basketball coach, I'm like, things would have gone really left for me. Because, like I said, a lot of my friends were in and out of jail. A lot of times when they were getting to madness, like, I might get a phone call. Yo, Chiz, where are you? Bro, I'm in Manchester, you know. But what are you doing up there? I've got a game. Oh, okay. Yo, Chiz, where are you? Oh, I'm in Birmingham. What are you doing? I got a game. Chiz, where are you? Wales. And like I said, like, you see, this is another thing. Like, this is why I laugh about Twitter, where you've got I know I'm diverting a bit, where you've got this gender war battles between men and women, and the reason why I will never get involved in that is I've never had bad experiences with my ex-girlfriends, like, never ever. So, like, even back then when I was like 18 and 19 and that, my first ever girlfriend, I think she kind of shielded me in a way as well. She's a West London girl as well. She's from Ladbroke Grove. So, like, Ladbroke Grove, Latimer. I don't know what it is with West girls, but they've kind of kept me away from badness. So, like, I remember, like, a lot of times as well, if, let's say, I'd gone to a game in Manchester or something, when I come back on the train, I'm just like, I'm going to my girl's house. These men are phoning me, oh yeah, we've got beef, and there's 30,000 gorillas and animals, and
by which time you smashed the game as well, so your body's tired anyway.
My body's tired. Like, not phoning me. But it was because I was one of the strongest out of my batch as well. And in school days, the early days, I was known as a fighter. But I'm like, mate, when I got that, the story I told you, when the boy beat me up, when I got that beaten, then I nearly got kicked out of school permanent within the same kind of period of time. I stopped fighting. So I'm like, the person you know at 14, 15 is not the same person at 18, 19. I don't know whether I'm still as, you know what I mean? Like, before that, there's multiple reasons why I was used to fight. I moved to England at 11 in 96. When you're the fresh kid from Africa, everyone's trying to pick on the freshie at first. So I had to show dominance. And how I knew to show a sort of dominance was being physical. So I knew that if I could fight, I would hold my own lane, and everyone would just be like, ah. So the bad kids in school would be like, yeah, like he's calm. Then the other kids who are trying to come up as well would be like, nah, just leave my man. So I just knew at first, I thought that was the way to get through things. But after that, like, getting beat up that time, then nearly getting kicked out, I kind of realized that, if I'm a good talker, if I talk to people, they will actually listen. And so things just changed. So from then, I think that's where my mind state slowly started to change. And like I said, I've never had bad girlfriends. So my first girl kind of kept me away from trouble all the time. So, you like, having a madness in Brixton, like, who's gonna
not me
catch the what's that bus over there, 52, the 52 to Victoria, be waiting 15 minutes on the bus stop, wait, the bus 2, hopefully them men are still beef. Like, who's gonna be fighting for 1 hour? This is not the Vikings, or, you know. So I think over time, my friends who were always in beef and all of that, they just kind of knew that, he's the athlete, leave him alone. And even when back in those days, you had like Brixton and Peckham, and there was these South London wars, even the people on that side would always be like, it's basketball, Chiz. So I kind of had like a diplomatic immunity due to that.
What would you say to maybe any kids, obviously, again, that might come onto this, you know, this pod, just listening to your stuff and things like that? Because I can imagine as well, there's probably still a lot of kids and people, you know, around, you know, our age, younger, that have that two sets of friends. So there's that good side, obviously, you say the sport, keeping their heads down, doing that, and then obviously you've got that other side, which is actually when you know, looking at both, there's probably a lot more. Looks like there's a lot more fun and games on the road side of things.
I can't lie to you, like. You know what it is? This is why I laugh here. Like, I'm not even gonna act like I'm goody two shoes and I'm preaching that, because all the music I listen to, it's just, I listen to a lot of R&B, a lot of that, but predominantly what I listen to is, I can admit, it's trash.
Yeah.
Like, what it's promoting is trash. So I listen to a lot of King Von, a lot of Dirk. I listen to all these young drillers, and a lot of it is promoting trash, but I don't know, it's like, you know what, when you subconsciously, that bit of you still, it's there in tiny bits, but it's through the music now that I just take it in, but I know how to separate both.
That was going to be kind of the question, right? Because if anyone listens to this,
I know how to take it as, this is a fiction.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people can't separate it, because I'll give you an example. Back in 05, 06, if I heard like a Gucci Mane tune or Jeezy, that would motivate me to go do.
Quite.
Yeah, like it would have me on a tip like, right, I need to make this kind of money. Like, so I'm taking risks and I'm not thinking about it. But it was just, Jeezy might have said that if you didn't make $250,000, blah, 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 this, that, you're broke. I'm just like, right. You know what I mean? Getting a Trapmobile, that was the mind state at that age.
Yeah.
But as you grow up as a man, you start to realize that another man can't control your emotions and control how you move. Like, when I was younger, my mom used to preach to me about, don't be envious about what other people have. So you don't realize subconsciously when you're hearing these lyrics and a guy is rapping, like especially these younger generation, they're rapping about this watch, this jewels, this clothes, blah, blah, blah. The younger generation who haven't got money, when they're hearing that, they're thinking, oh shit, the only way I'm going to be able to have this, that is if I go do this. But the problem now is, yeah, you go do that, you might have a good run, 1 year, 2 years, then you're going for 10. like it's mad. And the bad thing is, you've got some man from my age group who are in jail, and they've been in jail for time, but they're still glorifying this lifestyle, and they're putting videos up. Yeah, man, I'm living better than these lot. I've got my Rollie, I'm like, bro, you're doing designer, you're doing fashion show for other men. Like, deep down, you know you're not happy because you're trapped. But the younger generation are seeing this, and some of them are thinking, oh yeah, it's cool, them men are still living life and blah, 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 this, that. But you're trapped in a box. You're using key years of your life. Like, I'd rather be totally broke than be in a box. You get what I'm saying?
Do you not think, though, that the younger generation as well, like, I agree with you completely, but I also feel like there's more of a growth towards stepping away from it now, because again, I use Results Day on Twitter as, for example, like, you know, you love your network of people, and then there maybe have little brothers or sisters and stuff, and there's been this increase, and it could be the school pandering to, like, you know, make a quota and stuff, but there's these like lovely little, you know, black boys and girls that are either going off to Cambridge, Oxford, you know, smashing 11 A stars in their GCSEs. Like, there's such a cultural shift going on that is, I think, then that desire to, again, be impacted by the music and the other content that people would put out in that way that you discussed, I think is less now, and is probably moving more into listening to content such as yours. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's finally cool to be different.
Yeah.
I think even like other YouTubers, that people that don't realize that have kind of helped show kids a different lane. People like KSI, people like that, showing that they found their own way, they've been successful. So like all these kids that realize that, I don't even need to be on Badness to become a money man like them lot. Like, look at what KSI is doing. It's different level. Look at Chunks, Philly, these guys, you know what I mean? So now these kids are realizing that, oh, they could be who they want to be and still be keeping up with the rappers. Because KSI and them lot,
Yeah.
yeah,
Silly money.
silly money.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
now,
For playing FIFA, right? Opening packs. I recorded it.
crazy.
Yeah.
You got people like in America, like Mr. Beast and
Yeah.
those guys, insane. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So the kids are starting to look up to those people as their new idols. So it's started, like you said, you're starting to see the shift because they realize they don't need to be like back in the day where everything was glorifying the roads, glorifying badness. And it's funny, like even last night I was out and I was just thinking to myself, you know, when you see like a few older people, you know, you're thinking, why are you still moving like a bad man? Bro, you're 40, relax. You got kids at home. Like, like, what's wrong with you? And it's sad because there's some people I know in that age group that they can't even go out, bro. Like, I don't think you know how sad it is. Like, your dad's got beef from 1999 and he can't go to the park and play with you because he might bump into his old ups. His old ups got kids as well. But they will actually bump into each other and start fighting. Like, even like last year, I heard two guys I know, two of my friends, they bumped into each other in traffic and they kicked off. They had old beef and they kicked off. And I was like, I phoned one of them. I said, bro, you're a big man. You got 2 kids. My man's got loads of kids as well. What's wrong with you lot? The funny thing is, I said, if this don't stop, you lot are going to pass it on to your children. You know what I mean? Like, imagine generational beef. Like, yeah, my dad don't like your dad, so let's link up and fight in the playground.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess, you know, again, now looking into, as you said, that because, you know, the content that we reflected on with like KSI and stuff, but you've effectively done that anyway. I mean, you've got like great individuals around you just, you know, from what you're putting up with the gym at home and stuff like that, recording that, sending it out. What do you think is now next, if that makes sense? Like, is this just a trend right now in terms of, you know, having these kind of dynamics, sitting down, having conversations, or do you just see this continuing? Because I just, you know, looking at things, you know, as we say, you know, within the culture is that trends come and then they go. This one's kind of been like gone, then gone clear. I think particularly when Marv and all that lot got like Spotify deal and stuff like that, and how well Chucky's doing and things, is that we've kind of cemented in now. And it's just, you know, it's growth, and not just even from this platform. You know how Big Nasty and Mo Gilligan with their show on Channel 4. Do you know what I mean? All of a sudden, like voices and experiences and things are hitting.
Even Mo just did a show in LA a couple of days ago, sold out, crazy. He's got a party tonight, BAFTA's after party tonight still. Yeah, so it's good to see. Like, I've known Mo from 07 or 08, before Sunday's show. He performed back then like a Kojo's Comedy Club, but that's how I met him. But he grew up in like the Camberwell area, so not too far from me. And we always had mutual friends. Like, one of his best friends was my gym training partner for years, so we've always kind of been in the same circles. But it's just good to see him like to progress. Like, I remember like years ago, like he would always say it as well. He was like, people don't realize how hard it was for him. Like, he might do a show in the night, let's say like somewhere up and down the country, but he would have to make his way straight back to go work retail the next day, and he was just waiting for that moment. And when the Instagram video started taking off, it just kind of then Big Nasty, we grew up literally in the same area. Yeah. Tyrone. We used to call him Fat T. Yeah. So me and Nasty grew up in the same area. That's like a childhood friend. Like, literally, like, they grew up on Ferndale Road. We grew up around the corner. So as kids, we all used to hang in like one big batch at certain points, and we'd just be in the park just playing morning till night, and girls from different areas would all come there and just be chilling with us. No one could go to no one's house because it's just too much people. Yeah. But literally, I've known Nasty from school days. Crazy. But it's good to see like both of them. Like I said, I think what's helping with all of us as a group keeping in a certain lane and consciously thinking of how it affects the younger generation is
Yeah.
a lot of our friends and people we grew up with now are doing really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like some people are doing good and pulling others up.
Mm.
The rest are kicking the ladder.
Yeah.
But there's more pulling others up than kicking the ladders. So it's helping everyone as a whole raise up their profiles, which is showing the young youths that I think before the social media era, there was probably similar things happening, but because no one had Insta or that, you couldn't pinpoint who knew who or who was friends with who or who grew up around who. But now, because of Instagram, you would see like, I might put a picture now and someone like Young Teflon might comment or Mo might comment, but everyone has known each other since, you know what I mean, since teenage years and all that, or grew up in the same area or went same school. But like I said, back in the day, you would not be able to put things together because footballers might go to like a football award, musicians might go to a musician award, and they will never be in the same pictures in the press. But now, due to Instagram, I could be here chilling with you lot now. Next minute, I go around the corner and for the next man and boom, post. So all the kids are like, right, all these lot are all interconnected. Yeah.
How does it feel kind of building up that kind of network as well? Because it's so much more now than just, I guess, using like just Mo or Big Nasty as the examples where it probably previous would have been like they're the acts and then you just bring all the mandem. Now all of a sudden the mandem have actually got a role, you know, particularly like this kind of setting, talking about things, talking about experiences, things like that. What's it like? I guess I don't want to make you put too much responsibility on your shoulders, but almost being like a gatekeeper to this new thing that's happening of just individuals who have grown up within this environment and this culture that we all love so much, but has often been seen by people outside of it as dangerous or violent and things like that. And then all of a sudden now you guys are just turning around and being like, you know, fuck off. This is what we're doing. You know, again, you and Marv with Lux and things like that, you know, Taser and Matthew and you know, it's like, no, we're doing good. Here's our experiences as well. And what's it like kind of being able to develop that with just everyone?
You know what, it's quite good because them kind of things I think a lot of it kind of started by accident when, you know, like for instance, you're trying hard, you're trying to get into the corporate side of things and things ain't working out the way you want that way. Then all of a sudden, you're just like, you know what? If you're pushing the corner, find a new way to create it for yourself. So even the other day, Elon Musk tweeted something. It was wild, and I just laughed. He was like, 90% of drug dealers have better business acumen
than half of Wall Street, right? Or something like that.
And I saw that and I laughed and I said, you know what? He might probably be right, because if a lot of these guys got channeled in the right way and they had the same like grind effort, they'll realize that, you know what, the time I'm spending blah blah blah, if I start breaking down and dividing what I'm making hourly and I put the same effort into something, at first it might start off slow, but once things start compounding, the same time that you're using to make this, you probably after 4 or 5 years be bringing 10 times the amount. But you just have to literally grind through those years. Like even with the YouTube thing, like when I started, I said to myself, the first year, the second year, the third year, the fourth year, it's all just going to be like it's using it to grow. I said, when the money comes, the 5th year, I said, if I just keep on compounding content, adding different, like I'm going to bring on different style content to the channel. I'm even going to bring something to cater for the relationship a lot, but it's totally different. You know what I mean? It's going to be in a twist they like. So in my head, I was just like, keep on compounding, but you need to use this as your umbrella to push the other things you want. Where, for instance, the Lakey merch I'm wearing, like my brethren started a brand, I'm a small percent in that. Then I've just started my thing separately now as well. So I'm like, from watching the Americans and studying how they move, like, do you lot watch Full Send podcast?
Yeah.
So the Nelk boys and that, and seeing how Nelk boys move, Steve will do it. Those guys, I'm like, these guys are geniuses. Like, they've got the podcast doing well. They've got their individual YouTubes doing well. Did you see the episode where they had Donald Trump?
Yeah, watched a bit of that, yeah.
Steve said he took a picture the time before when they bumped into Trump. He took a picture with Trump, a selfie. He printed on a T-shirt. In 7 minutes, he made 250 grand selling a T-shirt. I was like, what's going on? But that comes from years of just growing the YouTube, that now anything they put out goes in a split second. After that episode, all 4 of them took pictures with Donald Trump. And they put on a shirt. I don't know how much they made, but they're geniuses. They understand how to use their network now, and it's just time and patience.
Would you think it? I don't know how to answer this, yes or no, actually, and then we'll develop from it. Is it important to just accept sometimes you're gonna have to work for free? Yeah. Why do? And can you explain from your own experiences why is it so important to do that?
It's similar to doing a work experience or internship. Sometimes a lot of people like want to be bosses, but they don't want to learn from a boss first. But for you to become better at what you're doing, you need to get experience somehow. And sometimes, unfortunately, you're gonna have to, you know what I mean? You're gonna have to work for free to learn off someone else, because that person might not necessarily need you. You get what I'm saying? So if you want to be the best you are at what you're doing, you might just have to sacrifice and just firm it. But the problem is everyone just straight away now is like, no. I need to get money straight away. But you're not always going to get what you want from the jump. You know what I mean? Because the person's going to be like, who knows you? Yeah.
Exactly. Again, this why it goes back to just me just being really thankful for you coming on today, because do you know, like, again, you didn't need to do this and have this conversation with me today. So no, I do appreciate you massively for that. Just going back to like the going back to the American thing in terms of, again, previously, prior to this kind of format coming out, I would say that the most influential thing that we've ever had up to podcasts and then people talking and about their experiences was probably Grime, to be fair, from what I can remember anyway, like getting into secondary school, all of a sudden, Skepta, Jamie, all of this lot, and then over time, like 2010, everyone was clear, and then it kind of feels like the same thing's happening here, but with this podcast and talking space. But do you think now that we are influenced as much by America or not? Because I see actually quite a London and UK cultural thing now that we're not borrowing from them as much anymore.
I'll give you an example. Like before, when I first started parties, you might have had a whole set. Like, let's say, like when I first started parties, you'd have had hip hop, R&B, but everything was American. Fast forward now to like 2022, you could actually have a day party and not hear one American song. Like, I'm talking like even the other day, I think I tweeted a tweet and I said, it's that time of the year where we need Western, NSG, One Asin, Hardy Caprio, Tion. Like, they make the summer bangers. I'm like, if all of these lot were on a mixtape, it would be the hardest mixtape ever, because they bring that vibe. What? It's good now that generation has created that lane that you could actually go to parties and just hear banger upon banger upon banger, and you don't have to be forced to listen to just American music. You know what I mean? Where even now, like, I'm Nigerian, so you've got Afrobeat doing well, so you could go from UK music straight to Afrobeat, straight to Bashment, and it's all the cultures that make UK blended into one, and we don't really have to be like them. Even yesterday when I was out with the girls that I know who came from Houston, and they were like, yeah, we could tell the swag's different compared to the guys over there. Back in there, everyone was trying to wear their baggy like them over there, but we've got our own identity and we dress more fitted in, you know what I mean? And last time I was in New York, I was laughing because my friends who are over there, they're always asking me, yo, what kicks you rocking out here now? They're trying to pick up our style. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're like, yeah, the way you dress fit, your tracksuits fit, this, that. I'm just like, rah, like, we're starting to make a small little dent in there. But you see it now where back in the day, rappers, you used to look like they were begging to get a collab with Americans.
Yeah.
But now it looks like the Americans are like, no, I listen to my man.
Yeah.
I need to do a tune with him. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And that even started from people like Drake.
Oh yeah, when he
Yeah.
did that BBK co-sign, that was massive, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When that
But
came
now
out.
it's become normal. Like Digga D's got like, he dropped his new
Yeah.
project and he's got like loads of tunes with the Americans, and it looks like they're like eager to work with him.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So the game's changing, and it's down to socials.
Mm.
Because before, like especially the people I know from out there, they were a lot ignorant where they'll think, oh yeah, this don't happen in England, that don't happen. All we do is drink tea and crumpets, and it's all we do is God save the Queen 24/7.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
their mind state. But now, socials and them traveling and mixing with more people here, they're starting to see that we've got our own separate culture. Like we're doing our own thing.
Yeah, and it looks that way anyway, just from like, again, YouTube thing, like
Yeah.
all of a sudden they're reviewing our music as well. Like I've not seen a lot of Americans review their own music at the moment. Like in my algorithm anyway,
Yeah,
it'll be
yeah.
reviewing like again like
Yeah.
Chip's most recent Fumes and Bugsy as well
Yeah.
with his Grime Daily. Like everyone is like reviewing that, but it's just silence
Yeah.
over the other side of the pond with
Yeah.
with those things.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. What's kind of with yourself then, Chizzo? So where are you looking to be, or what's the I guess the end marker is probably not something you could say because
Yeah.
again, knowing obviously yourself very briefly, but and then obviously the individuals that you're around all the time and the conversations you have, it's
Yeah.
like now I'm established.
Yeah.
Now we keep moving.
Yeah.
Is there like an end goal right now, or is it just enjoying this and continue with it? Is there something that you're really working towards, or not so much? What could I ask what it is, or is that strictly confidential till you get there?
Till I get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the best way, till I get there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I've always, like I said not too long ago, I said the 5-year targets. So I kind of always had where I would be year by year, and knowing what I'm going to be in that time scale and that time frame. So I'm just like, by the time I hit there, I know exactly what the next levels are going to be. Yeah, so that's just literally time and patience, working slowly towards that.
Okay. What in terms of like, again, any young'uns that would be listening that have found this anyway from like, your own page, and it's a case of maybe knowing what they want to do but feel like they can't start, what kind of suggestions could you kind of give for them to crack on? Because I think for myself, again, like doing this pod, I probably sat on this since I finished uni, which was 2017, and I'm probably about 3-4 months in now, and there was nothing actually in the way. I was just putting a lot of things like in my way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, procrastinating.
Yeah. Is that something that you've had like challenges with? Yeah, before.
Everyone does it.
Is it, how
everyone does it. Everyone has a time in their life where there's I can't. Everyone does it, but I think with age and certain things that might happen in life, you start to see, just don't wait, just go. Like if you have an idea, go after it. If you fail, you fail. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to kill you. Just move on to the next thing.
Which is, again, and I think that's something that's reported by loads of people. And then there'll still be that individual that says, yeah, but Chizzo, X, Y, and Z. So what maybe the better question is what broke your cycle to stop saying, I can't? Was, is there anything you practically put in place? Or was it just a case of, I'm going to send this and just see what happens? Do you know what I mean?
You know what, yeah. When you see like people pass, you start to realise, like I said, more the value of your time. And you start to realise things like, when I go, what would people remember me for? And when I go, did I give myself a fair chance at hitting my targets that I wanted? Or did I just give myself excuses and say to myself, I can't because of these lot said they can't help me to do this and blah, blah, blah. Like, even if they don't help you, if you start doing it yourself, it might take longer. But think of my life, it's weird. When people start to see you, I always say this: when people start to see you winning, more people start to come. It's like everyone waits at the finish line to fuck the winners. You know what I mean? So the moment you consciously tap into that mind frame of, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do that, eventually one person sees and thinks, let me just give him a slight push. Next person sees. Before you know it, you've got like a base of people who are your support system. And even when you have bad days, those people are the people that kind of champion you forward. So like I said, like even in regards to even the podding and that, I've got days where I'm just like, forget all this crap, man. Let me just stop doing this and just focus on other things I need to do. But I see the bigger picture now, and I can't procrastinate and push things aside just because I've got one bad day, you know?
The use you mentioned there as well of just like you have that one person that pushes you and then that one person that pushes you X, Y, and Z. I myself, like I've never done well with people positively reinforcing things I do or congratulating me on things. Not because, you know, I've had some mad traumatic experience. It just feels a bit like, just leave it out.
I get. You know what it is? You would get used to it after a while. You would have no choice but to get used to it. Like I remember the first time, especially with the YouTube stuff, when people are like, oh yeah, congrats, and I'm just looking like, you're talking about congrats, and you know them ones. The funniest person with it is Gabriel. Gabriel's so funny. I remember one time, he was out and someone tapped him, like, I said, oh yeah, Gabe, and he turned and it looked like he was already in a boxing stance. And I looked at him and I said, bro, like, nah, it's probably YouTube. And he was like, oh yeah, I've been looking for you all night. I saw Chisel earlier and I wanted to say hi and blah, blah, blah. And I said, yeah, bro, it's YouTube, man. And he was like, oh. And I said to him, you see like what growing up where we grew up has done to you, that you sometimes you're tense without meaning to be. And I just had to laugh because I just thought to myself, like, over time you're gonna have to get used to it. But now, because it literally happens every day, I'm just like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is.
Because I guess for me the reason why I brought it up is that I can, again, through maybe like the music that has always come out within the culture and stuff, and maybe the other media and platforms that have come out with it. Top Boy as a like just a real big example. Is that usually it's a very much a case of reporting. Don't listen to those people that are like giving you that support because it might not be kind of genuine. And I think maybe when I look at it, is that again that using the music from that perspective is that's what I've grown up on and found like a connection with. So then there are those other elements, as you say, that then you kind of take as gospel as well. So just with regards to starting to accept and become comfortable with the positive praise, how does, maybe the better question is, how do you respond back to it then? Because I can imagine that maybe some people are okay with the positive praise, but maybe the difficulty is then humbly taking it. Do you know what I mean? Because it's, if they feel that they're being maybe a bit selfish or greedy because they're not saying anything back to the person that's congratulating them. But it's kind of, if I was being congratulated by something, I'd feel a bit like iffy. But if I was giving out that praise, do you know what I mean? I wouldn't be bothered. I'm more than happy to do that. So how do you kind of navigate accepting it, or from someone on like a night out during like a Luck Sundays or something?
No, a lot of times I'm just like, right, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. I just keep it mad simple, because now I see it like as they don't really need to say it. They don't need to go out their way to say it, because last year, August, me and Marvin went to a tracksuit party. It was Michael Dapper's. And just before that, I had an episode where I was talking about Bouncer and Arms Corleone. And I was saying, that Arms is going to finish Bouncer and blah, blah, blah. So Bouncer walked up to me and said, I saw that episode and blah, blah, blah. And he goes, nah, don't worry, I got something planned. And I laughed. And I didn't really know Bouncer at the time. And he was like, oh yeah. He goes, funny thing is, loads of people watch your content. And he goes, he was like, probably most people in here know who you are, but they're never going to congratulate you and say, but it was like, yeah, just keep doing what you're doing, man. I respect it. I was like, right. So once he said that now, I just thought to myself, when people go out their way to congratulate, it's not natural to everyone to do that. So I have to be like, you know what I mean? Like, for you to have gone out your way to say it, you didn't have to. So I'm like, right, you know what? Thank you very much. I proper appreciate it, because you could just literally seen it and just think, let me walk past. And once Bouncer said that comment, it just made me laugh because it shows me like when I look at analytics and you see like views, comments and all that, most people just view it and it's probably just, I ain't even gonna like that, but I'm gonna watch it next week.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch it the week after.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's the mentality over here. That's the mentality over here. So them little things there, when people say that, after a while you're just like, you know what, they've gone out their way for you. Like you have to respect that. Yeah.
Okay. How is it again then? Because I know that's another big thing as well. I know like Marvin Tays and Keith have mentioned it quite a lot as well in terms of, you know, what they're doing, and then it's all the love in the world from like a internet point perspective. But then when it's like in front of them, there's just dead kind of silence and stuff like that. And again, I think that's something that's been brought up quite a lot just within like the culture as well. Anyway, right? Is that, you know, music artists have always said it before as well. Is that, does that contribute to you sometimes thinking I can't be bothered with all of this anymore? Does the externals and the views of people, does that bother you now, or has it ever?
You know, a lot of times now, there's days where I don't even look. There's days where I don't even look at the comments. But there's days where I'm just like, you know, I need to go in the comments and interact. So it all depends on episodes, and it goes back to other platforms where now, just due to what I do now, I try and avoid engaging too much because, like I said, people are just waiting for that one moment to try and drag you. So I just try to keep engagement like as minimum. It's bad because the more you engage, the better it helps your content. But I feel like sometimes the way things have been going and the way there's this online culture of people just dragging each other, it's kind of made me a bit closed off. You know what I mean? And I don't mean to be, but it's just for my own personal safety and my own mental health. Yeah, I don't want to get into a madness. And like, that's the thing about this generation. What people don't realize here, that my era, if half the shit that people tweet at each other now, it would be in a war zone. Yeah. No. Them days was physical fights. Yeah. One wrong comment could have you in A&E.
Yeah. And Drake said it the best though, didn't he? Trigger fingers turned into Twitter fingers. Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize, like, you see, like, a perfect example was the Chicago bunch when all this drill stuff started over there. Remember the kid, Little Jojo? He tweeted a madness and 30 minutes later was dead. And people don't realize that when they say certain things online, you're growing your following and you're trolling people and everyone's keying. But I said, one day you're going to do it to the wrong person and it could go left. So I'm consciously like, I don't engage in things where I could get drawn out. I don't engage in things where I could be in online battles or wars because I don't know what that other person's mind state is. So I could get all the laughs now and everyone's like, kiki, watch it, so that my man's funny, blah, blah, blah. All the RTs, like. My man might see me out and I might just be walking.
Finished. Yeah, finished.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So people don't really think about these things, and I think it's because a lot of people have been getting away with it lately and all of that. But the way Twitter's boiling in the UK, it's especially now that the pandemic is, things are open up and blah blah. These people are gonna bump into each other in the same parties, and me, I'm just gonna be in the back just sipping my Hennessy.
Whoops. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. In silent, just like the Watcher from Marvel. Yeah. Yeah.
And again, that as you navigate things, you know, obviously remembering what you're building and have built so far as well. Does going back to your previous point about the friends that you bumped into that have like done a bit of a stint and are now starting to come out, is it difficult trying to navigate around being like, sorry bro, as much as I love you, this is what I've got now, so I need, or do you know, I need to stay away a bit? Is that something that you have to navigate at all, or is that understanding there already?
Not at all, because you'd be surprised that even the ones who've come out, they value their time even more. So they, like, a lot of them are switched on from the jump now, and Like that one, for example, he was like, "Oh, I've been watching quietly what you've been doing," and he goes, "It kind of motivated me." So like even lately, like when we was catching up and talking, I was just like, I was the PT guy, and he's like on a different level. Like I'm talking, he's doing like 10 clients a day, but he's like in his head, he's playing catch up for the years he'd missed. So he's like everything he missed, he's trying to accumulate. So his mindset is just like he just wants to win. So he's just in a positive flow, working. He's like he can't dwell on that time. What's happened, and just go get it. And I'm just like, I respect that, because some people could make excuses about this happened, everyone's left them and blah blah blah. But all my friends who've literally been through that kind of cycle, a lot of them are doing really well. Like they're working hard, grinding, and just creating their own lanes. So you have to respect it, because something must have clicked while they were there that made them realize that everyone, something must have clicked that made them realize that everyone, once you're gone, people forget you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Is that, again, was that maybe something that was in the back of your mind as well when you were younger, and like seeing people start to disappear and go away, and then you notice that you forgot about them, where it's just like, I don't even want that for myself to not be kind of remembered as well, do you think?
Yeah. Even down to simple things where something might happen, someone got killed, everyone cries, 1 year goes by, close circle remembers the person, family remembers the person, 2 years go by, fast forward now, you don't remember
Finished,
that person.
yeah.
You get
Gone.
me? Like sometimes when I drive past certain, like I'm even a culprit myself, because sometimes I drive past certain funeral homes and cemeteries, and I'm like, oh yeah, my man is buried there. Should I? I'll do it another day.
Yeah.
Another day becomes 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years. Then you realize, until someone in their family reminds you and pulls you up on it and says, let's go. That you won't naturally just go do it, but people forget you the moment you're gone. You know what I mean? The only people that are going to be feeling that pain forever is literally your family.
Yeah.
Everyone else is going to forget you when you're gone.
Yeah.
So like consciously having that in my head has kind of just made me become over time more level-headed and more calm, because you realize that, especially in this internet era, everyone's got their high days, everyone's got their low days.
Thing is, the internet era is that all you ever see is people's high days, though. Like people just seem invincible, like all the time.
No one shows you their losses.
Yeah.
No one's ever going to show you their losses. Yeah.
And usually the ones that are probably, again, this is probably such a generalization, but it's just the ones that are really, really doing it, pushing it out there, throwing. Usually, if you were to knock on their door like one evening, it might be the ones that are like sobbing into a tissue, right? And
the house is probably a mess.
Yeah.
But it's crazy, like this internet era. I just laugh, because a lot of times, especially like on platforms like Twitter and that, the people who just spend their time trolling, I was thinking to myself, you definitely don't go outside. Because if you were outside touching grass and your life was so happy, you wouldn't even have that time to be making bad energy to other people, because you'd be like, my life outside of this is lit. So why am I here 24/7 having online wars? Because if you were someone who was really moving and doing something, example like the Mo, the comedians and Nasty and that, they're not there having battles. You know what I mean? Like their PR team would just be like, what the hell are you doing? You're trying to
But do you not think success looks a bit different now? As you know, onto my previous point, it's not just like being on that stage anymore, doing like, you know, the gigs and the music and the sports stuff. Again, like what you've tapped into, what Marv's tapped into and stuff, and just talking about experiences now it makes it so much more achievable and attainable for people, right? Is that maybe is that contributing to now the reduction in people being around, you know, the kind of environment that you obviously mentioned that you grew up in, and actively being able to say, I don't need to be on badness all the time?
I think especially like everyone's seen that there's multiple different lanes to create for yourself. Like you just realize, is it worth it doing? You know what I mean? like even in regards to that side of things, I remember like even recently, up until a few years ago, a lot of friends who own clubs in West End and that, back in the days, they were, you know what I mean, they were like people who was like customers in that area, and I just like seeing them, and they've developed and all of that, and they were just like, one of my good friends, he was like, if you were still on badness, now that everyone owns clubs, you could be, you know what I mean, you could be really, really rich. And I was like, yeah, I don't care for that. Like I said to him, you know, I'm gonna get to where I need to get regardless. Maybe not when I'm 30, maybe when I'm 40, 45, who knows. And he was like, yeah, that's what I love about you, that your mind state switched early from that to this. And I said to him, not even only that, it's like, I don't believe in that. I think it was just my natural hustler mind that got myself trapped in certain bits of life there. And at the same time, I just kind of think to myself, these people became my friends. I can't be pushing certain things onto people who are my people. Like, it don't make no sense, you know what I mean? So what I like now is, like, with the internet, you're able to tap into certain things and show people little things that it could amass to big things, where I've shown on the channel where I've spoken, like last year, one of my friends, Dominic, his channel starting to pick up traction now, slowly. And at first he was losing faith and he was about to jump off it. And I said, right, just keep on pushing, because he started before me. And Dominic is like, I call him the super legit hustler, where Dominic's got like cars on Turo and things like, you know what I mean? Things like that. So when people are defining success, I'm like, these men right now, someone like him, in the next 2-3 years, he'll probably be making footballer money by himself, because as he compounds, he saves. Whatever he does, he just amplifies it. Whatever he does, he amplifies it. Whatever he does, it amplifies it. So at the rate he's moving right now, I was talking to him recently, I was like, rah, you're going to be making money like you're in the championship. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, then before you know it, maybe like in 10 years, he'll be making money like he's in the Premiership, because his mind state has always been, you know what I mean, wired correctly, to hustle correctly. And when you showed me about Turo years ago, I was just like, rah, like, that's a smart little, you know what I mean? Just put, like, if you're at work most of the week and you're not using your car, you just put on a Turo platform, people rent out your car, before you know it, you might be making an extra $1,000 a month. That money now is paying off your car. You're laughing, but now these lot have gone from one car to like 7-8 cars. I'm like, genius.
Just final thing, Chiz, if you don't mind me asking, just your personal perspective on what where you stand within your kind of peer group, and I guess just, you know, within the culture now, similar to maybe, you know, no, don't answer for them, obviously, if you don't feel comfortable to, but similar to what Marv and all them boys have done as well. What is this, or what are you, if that makes sense? Because I think influencer is probably not correct.
No.
I think social commentator is probably not a true reflection at all. Actually, I think that's probably a bit rude in some respects. You know what I mean? Because again, some of the details and things that you've brought up today are obviously quite like personal. You know, they've molded you. What are, I don't want to put you all in a box, but again, what you guys have delivered, similar to what, you know, the boys that were doing grime a number of years ago, that they came as like a package, kind of feels like, again, yourself, Free Shots boys, Half Caste lads here, and, you know, other people that are doing it as well. What are you guys in terms of putting a label on it, or is there one, or is there not?
I don't even think there's a label. That's the crazy thing. I wouldn't even know how to describe it, because when people are like, oh yeah, you've got a pod, I'm like, no, we haven't. They're like, no, but yeah. I said, a lot of times I'm in the background training, chatting at the same time, so I'm like, it's not conventional, because we're constantly moving. I'm like, a pod is people sitting down and talking. So I wouldn't even know where to class it, and they'll be like, oh yeah, influence. I'm like, I don't know. I can't really say influencer. What am I really influencing? But at the same time, I get where people might say that, because they might be like, you're having an effect on this generation and that generation. But I don't know. It's probably a unique niche. Someone will find a name soon for it.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah.
And I just, again, it's kind of what,
Mm.
with regards to just the conversation, the person you are and coming onto the pod is because it's been, yes, the platform is a podcast, but it's so, again, as you say, quite niche. The experiences that, you would discuss, and, the other lads are discussing. It's something that is needed to have happened, but just hasn't been successfully done. But it just feels like it's being tapped into now, and again, that's why I just wanted to sit down with you because, watching you guys, entertainment value is up there. Obviously, there's no denying that. But then there's obviously all these little other bits that are now being said coherently. People are actually listening to it and taking it on as well and finding use in what you're saying, the information you're giving. So it's just something that I don't think has been seen properly because it's not the baller or the musician. It's something of itself, but just being delivered through a podcast platform.
Because I think the difference is it's a bit more relatable because we're not far away from like the culture or community in general. Whereas some people might see the musicians and ballers and think, oh, they've gone far off. So I think just due to how we're just as individuals, where you could just tell, like, we don't even plan an episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. We literally don't plan. Like,
I'm the same as I say. Like, I've obviously, I know. Obviously, I've spoken to you, and I've watched I watched that one video of your of you. Obviously, I've watched more of them, but I didn't want to plan and go into too much because I feel like then what I would do would bring questions that reflect my position on you based on your content, not you as the person.
Yeah. So like we just naturally we'll just come and just be like, we'll sit down and I'll just think, oh, what happened yesterday? What happened? Then might throw that in. Then from that it just goes off on a tangent and conversation just starts flowing and whatever comes out of it, that's it. Yeah.
Extract out and send off. Yeah. Calm. All right, Chizzo, I have got what I kind of wanted from you today. And as I say, just to have that sit down with an individual in this space that you're in with the boys at the studio here and everywhere else. But is there, because I know obviously you're putting out quite a lot on your own channel. Is there anything that you're thinking about working through in terms of the conversations you have? Because again, a lot of your conversation being like entrepreneurship starting to come out from where we are. So is there anything that kind of you want to finish up with or?
Just
go through. Is there a point that you've had in your mind that you've been thinking about that?
No, not really. I think we've kind of touched on everything. We've kind of touched on everything. I'm just hoping that more platforms like mine, yours, start to get recognized a bit more, where it starts to grow, where people just realize that it's not every day that we're just going to be firing off banter 24/7. Like, it's all good firing off the jokes and all of that and the relationship content and that lane, etc., etc., stuff that's going to end up on the blog pages, etc., that we've got more to us, where like the blog pages I end up is different to what other people end up. So I end up on pages like the Content Library, Wealth Mind State. Sometimes I made you think. Sometimes like he might see a clip in it, but I just want that things like this grow more and get to the right audience, the people that need it. You know what I mean? Because it can't just always be like negative. I don't want to mention certain platforms on here because I know the people as well. So I don't even want to talk about their stuff. But it's like, I feel like some people only see like the way to profit is only off everything that's bad in our and it's not true. Like, this route will take a longer time, but it's just sometimes just be patient, man. Just be patient and your time will come. You know what I mean? And the good thing about this, like, being patient is, even let's say 10 years from now, I was just like, I don't want to do YouTube. I'm already doing something else. And it's doing well for itself, etc. People are still going to be watching it.
Yeah.
But that other content now, it's had boom. It just dies down.
Yeah.
Onto the next one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just showing them, just be patient and take your time. Your time's going to come.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your time's going to come. Yeah.
Okay. Cheers. Thank you, bro.
Jordan,
Thank you so much.
love my bro.
Cool.
Yeah.
See it, we're done.